Hey guys, welcome back. Are you wondering about how many CPU cores should I get for gaming, or are you building your custom PC and confused about number of CPU cores and what performance it gives? Then you are in the right place. In this video, we will find out how many CPU cores you need if you want to play modern games along with streaming and as well as video editing, so that you don't face any performance issues later. So stay tuned. You are watching Gaming Charge Gaming Guide video playlist. If you have not watched other videos yet, then check out the link in the description below. Let me know in the comments below with your experience on existing CPU cores and its performance. And make sure to stick around till the end of this video because I have a special tip for you that will help you to choose the best CPU core based on your needs. So let's find out how many CPU cores should I get for gaming. Before we start sharing you with how many CPU cores you need for gaming, I want to share one of the incident with you regarding choosing the CPU cores. When I first started building my gaming PC, I wanted to stream modern games but opted for CPU with only 4 cores, which wasn't enough and had issues with processing both simultaneously. There were times when I used to get low frame rates, which was really frustrating. So that is why I want to share with you the answers that you are looking for your specific needs. But firstly, you need to consider the following factors that will help you to choose the right number of CPU cores. A CPU core is a CPU's processor. Way back, every processor consisted just one core that could focus on one task at a time. Today's CPUs consist 2 to 18 cores, each of which can work on a different task. There are two types of cores you need to know, and that are logical and physical core. Some of these physical cores which basically has a functionality called hyperthreading, which creates a logical core that works as an extra core. Some Intel microprocessor that allows a single microprocessor to act like two separate processors to the operating system and the application programs that use it. AMD also does a similar threading to create logical cores in their newer CPU series. A CPU's clock speed rate is measured of how many clock cycles a CPU can perform per second. A computer's processor clock speed determines how quickly the CPU can retrieve and interpret instructions. This helps your computer complete more tasks by getting them done faster. And hence, the higher the clock speed, the better the performance you will get. Let's find out what number of CPU cores can make difference in a performance. A core can work on one task while another core work on a different task. So the more cores CPU has, the more efficient it becomes. You also need to make sure to consider the GPU's performance that will boost that overall performance and reduces the strain on CPU. Also remember that CPU bottlenecking happens is when PC is performing a very demanding application such as high graphical game, and it appears that the application is performing better, but CPU load is very high, about 70% or more, and significantly higher than GPU load. That means the CPU is causing a bottleneck. Make sure you get the GPU that is not bottlenecking your CPU. Currently, most CPU performance is tested on 1080p resolutions, which is considered the best for optimal gaming experience, whereas the higher resolution like 1440p and 4K will require higher number of pixels to process, and that will demand higher performance from your CPU and GPU. So make sure you consider your requirement based on what resolution you want to run on your computer. The number of CPU and its performance will affect significantly with factors such as if your CPU has logical cores, higher clock speed, high screen resolution, and GPU that can reduce the strain on CPU. Make sure you consider these factors along with the number of cores, and you will find it easy to choose the best option that suits your need. Make sure you give a thumbs up to the video so that it can reach and help our gaming community members. Let's find out how many CPU cores you should get based on your needs. The following recommendations are given based on needs and the optimal screen resolution of 1080p. You may need to consider higher number of cores if your needs are above 1080p such as 1440p or 4K. When your need is to just play some casual games which are not demanding high level of graphics, then you will be able to enjoy your gaming with 2 to 4 CPU cores. Many old games and some latest games can give you better performance with 4 CPU cores, but some modern games will have limited performance. Also remember that your performance will vary based on what CPU clock speed and GPU you have. You can enjoy games like Fortnite with good performance at 4 CPU cores with a base level graphic card. When it comes to modern games, the demand goes higher, whereas latest CPU offers a great performance and game developers want to make sure and make their games to utilize the technology that new generation offered. Modern games are heavily demanding with graphics, and you should have minimum 4 CPU cores with high-end graphic cards, but with some games you may see substandard performance. To get the best modern gaming performance, you should get 6 CPU cores with a decent graphic card. So with that, two questions arises immediately. Are 4 core enough for gaming? With 4 CPU cores, you will be able to play most of the modern games, but that will require high-end graphic card, and it is not future-proof because newer games will use multi-cores, and you may find that 4 cores are not enough anymore. The second question is, what are the games that uses more than 4 cores? The modern games that uses more than 4 cores are Witcher 3, GTA 5, Civilization 5, Ashes of the Singularity, Cities Skyline, PUBG, Scum, Battlefield 5, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, Project Cars 2, Hitman, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Forza Horizon 4, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The list goes on, and you will find more games that will use more than 4 CPU cores right now as well as in the future. When you want to stream on YouTube, Twitch, or any platform, your CPU needs to handle multiple tasks at hand, such as the streaming app, your webcam, and the game itself. So to perform without issues when streaming games, you will need 8 CPU cores and a decent graphic card. When you are a gamer who wants to edit your videos for YouTube or any other platform, your CPU will require multiple cores to run applications such as video editing software and render videos in higher resolution. So you will need minimum 8 CPU cores with a decent graphic card to get the rendering and video editing done in shorter time. For the multitaskers who likes to do multiple things at a time with multiple windows opened on a screen will require a higher performing CPU as well as GPU. When you want to stream graphically demanding games on a high resolution along with webcam and some other activities simultaneously, you will have to go above 8 CPU cores, maybe up to 12, along with high-end graphic card. It's time for that special tip as assured at the beginning of the video. You can find the best CPUs for all your needs like modern gaming, streaming, and video editing with great performance that are listed on our article. You can find the article link in the description below. Also, if you have any questions or comments about how many CPU cores needed for gaming, streaming, and video editing, you can leave them down below and I will help if I can. Make sure you click the subscribe button somewhere on the page to get the information in the future when trying to find the right approach in the gaming. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.